Now, what do we usually do to get the infection under control? Under experimental conditions, TOLTRAZURIL has a very good efficacy. Here you see results from TOLTRAZURIL given at 20 milligrams per kilogram once within 2 days pre or post-infection, depending on the study design. And you can see in gray the control animals, the fecal score increases here in gray. The oocyst excretion increases quite dramatically in those infected animals, whereas animals that are treated with TOLTRAZURIL shed no oocysts, and the fecal score undulates very much below 2, which means the animals do not show diarrhea in relation to infection. And you can also see the body weight gain of those animals that are treated with TOLTRAZURIL is fairly straight and even, whereas animals that are acutely infected under experimental conditions have kind of a kink here. And this is the acute phase of infection. Here you can see between day 8 and 15, this is when most of the diarrhea occurs after infection and most of the oocyst excretion. This is also shown by this flattened curve. Animals lose nutrients. And when we do controlled treatment under field conditions, in principle, the efficacy is comparable. Now the question is, if we have such a good compound, anticoccidial compound, is this still an issue? Before 2007, when TOLTRAZURIL was largely introduced, 40 to 80% of farms in different countries in Europe were positive for piglet coccidiosis. So both oocyst excretion and diarrhea were present. And now the use of TOLTRAZURIL is very common on farms with cystoisospora suis and diarrhea related to infection. However, we lately did 2 studies, one that included Czech Republic, Austria, Germany, and Spain, and another one where we included the Netherlands and Belgium. And we found that SUIS is still prevalent. 2/3 of the farms we examined were positive, and almost half of the litters were, and infection was related to diarrhea problems, especially in the first week of life. And we also saw that the control that was exerted on these farms was insufficient to reduce the prevalences the way we would have expected it compared to the experimental conditions. We could see that early TOLTRAZURIL treatment until the 3rd day of life reduced the coccidia prevalence on the farms. We also saw that diarrhea in reported cases was positively related to the presence of oocysts, and also we found more oocysts in pasty fecal samples. I'll get back to that a little later. Management factors were not related to the presence of SUIS, and the overall TOLTRAZURIL treatment as such did, especially later TOLTRAZURIL treatment, did not really confine the parasite excretion and interrupt the life cycle, which is conceivable because if you treat too late, the parasite is already in the environment. So why is it so difficult to effectively control SUIS on a farm if we can do it experimentally so easily and so light-handedly? One is that the parasite has an extremely fast life cycle. The pre-patent period is 5 days. Sporulation takes about 1 day under favorable conditions in the farrowing pen. So it's roundabout, it takes 6 days for the parasite to get around. And if you have 6 days and produce the first batch of oocysts, and then the next 6 days, you will have a quick accumulation of oocysts in the environment. And untreated or not effectively treated piglets shed millions of oocysts, and you only need a few, maybe 100 or so, to infect the piglets and also cause disease. And the too late treatment is ineffective for the suppression of oocyst excretion, also for the suppression of the diarrhea, because then the parasite has already completed its life cycle and the damage to the gut is already done. And if you look at the environmental stages, the oocysts, they can then remain infectious for more than 6 months in the environment. So that means that you can revitalize, so to speak, the infection with every new litter that is born in the contaminated environment. And infective disinfection, I have to say, is not trivial. Oocysts are not very susceptible to disinfectants. So continued transmission has to be expected under such conditions.